Hey guys, this is FightWrite, a writer's resource for writing fight scenes, action, and violence. I'm Carla, and today we are going to talk about your character breaking out of zip ties. This is a special tutorial just for writers, and I'm going to include some details that you can use in your work to make things that much more realistic. We will talk about what's plausible, what's not plausible, and why using zip ties just like this might be incorrect for your work. I should have gotten white. Okay, for all of these demonstrations, I am going to be using small zip ties, not a big zip tie. And the reason is, this hurts. It really hurts. The concept is the same. What you do with the small zip tie, you're also going to be doing with a large zip tie, but the larger the zip tie, the more damage. Whenever I practiced this, I wore a sweatshirt and I made sure that the ties went over the sweatshirt. It causes bruising. It leaves blood marks. I can also see how a character might sprain their wrist doing this. Now, if your character can break through, in one swipe, they may not have so much damage left on their skin. But if they really have to work to break the zip ties, it'll bite into their skin pretty hard. So you're gonna see evidence of that. And it'll last a couple scenes because wounds don't heal immediately. Again, the larger zip ties may take several attempts for your character to get through, or they may not be able to get through them. When your character is in a life or death situation, there's going to be a lot of adrenaline going, and so they probably aren't going to feel the pain of breaking out of the zip ties like they would if they were, like me at home, just standing in front of the TV and practicing this. On that note, writers, don't try this at home. Trust me on this. Just watch this video, pick up the details you need. If you do feel like you need to try this at home, don't do it while you are by yourself. Because if you can't break out of the zip ties, you might need somebody to help you cut it. Because once the zip ties are on, it's hard to get an angle in with the scissors. And trust me on this, do not try this alone, especially if you're using one zip tie, because then you're stuck. All right, the concept, you bring your arms up over your head and bring them down as quickly as possible, okay? Oh, gosh. Okay, with two zip ties, it is a little tougher, but the concept is the same. The first thing you're gonna wanna do is tighten the zip ties as much as possible. Okay, and this one I could not break doing the overhead method. I had to do something a little bit different. It really does hurt. You also have the shoestring method where you use your shoestrings to create friction and burn through the zip tie. And it really does work. I think it took a total of, 15-20 seconds to break through a larger zip tie. This zip tie, I was able to burn through it with shoestrings. The shoestring may break before you get through it, and I honestly thought mine would because they're very stretchy cotton shoestrings. But they didn't. They could, but mine didn't. Shoestrings are also very, very stretchy. Tie them a little closer to the shoe than you think you need to, and then just run your feet back and forth. It really does work. I gotta be honest, I was surprised. I didn't think it would, and it did. Okay, now what do you do if the hands are zip tied behind the back? It is the same concept. You bring the arms back and you bring them forward as quickly as possible. However, I think this, and I've seen people do it. I can't do it. My arms are way too short. But I have seen people do it. The issue I have with this one is you're not as able to tighten the zip tie. You're not as able to shimmy the little head of the zip tie in the middle. So although I have seen people do it, I don't think it's as plausible as it is when the hands are zip tight in the front. I could not personally do it from the back. Can you slip your hands underneath your backside, underneath your legs, and kind of step through to bring your hands around to the front? Yeah, I think you could if you're made of cartilage or work for Cirque du Soleil or a monkey. But I think for the average person, that's gonna be pretty tough. If your character is very long and lanky, and it's more plausible. But again, no way I could do that. No way. The greatest issue with all of these is your character is going to need room. They're going to need room to bring their hands up and back, whether they're breaking the zip ties over their body or if they're breaking them over their shin. They've got to have room to bring their arms up and bring them down quickly. So if they're in a very confined space, I don't know that it's doable. The shoestring method might be doable, but again, they've got to have room to be able to perform the technique. If your character cannot escape the zip ties, they can still defend themselves just a little bit. They can do a headbutt, and there is an actual technique for doing a headbutt. I believe I've written a post about it, and I'll put the link to that down in the comments. They can also kick, definitely push kick, and then they run. But arm movement is pretty essential to running quickly, so you have to remember that your character can run, they are mobile, but it's not going to be as fast. And if they fall, there is absolutely nothing there to break their fall. Face plant. Guys, here's the problem with all of these. If you're a mystery or a crime writer, you need to know these are not tactical zip ties. These are not what law enforcement uses. These are tactical zip ties, and they are very different. I reached out to several friends of mine in law enforcement, one of which is with SWAT team, and I asked, have you ever had anybody break out of tactical zip ties? Not even one. I was not able to test the tactical zip ties, so I can't vouch that any of these methods would work on law enforcement tactical zip ties. Okay, that's it for this episode of FightWrite on YouTube. Be sure to check out the blog post associated with this at FightWrite, FightWrite.net, and definitely check out my book, right there. FightWrite, How to Write Believable Fight Scenes with Writer's Digest / Penguin Random House. It's chock full of really great stuff. And until the next round at FightWrite, get blood on your pages. Arms up over the head, down quick. Oh, it didn't work. And down quick.